All right, welcome to week 5, which is also the last week of Unit 2. Last week we learned about the media and the role that the media plays, well or poorly, as conduits of information between citizens and governing institutions. This week we'll learn about two other important constellations of intermediary institutions, political parties and interest groups. Chapter 7 explores the role that political parties play in America's constitutional system. The framers didn't anticipate the formation of parties, and George Washington, in his farewell address, warned the nation in 1796 about the spirit of faction, which he feared would worsen the sectional divisions between the North and South and lead to war. However, by the mid 20th century, political scientist E. Schattschneider would say democracy is unthinkable save in terms of parties. As much as we might want to despise the partisanship that political parties engenders, democratic governance requires people to have a means of coalescing, of getting organized around a common set of beliefs. And in a country as large as ours, as with the media, we have to think about how well political parties do that, fulfill that role. If you agree with Schattschneider's analysis, it creates a real dilemma for a two-party system like ours. What happens if one of our parties just implodes and gets caught up in such a massive scandal that it alienates all but a tiny fraction of its normal constituency? Can a democracy survive with just one party? You can continue having elections, but if only one party has a reasonable expectation of winning, is that really democracy? Now, there are countries where one party has enjoyed huge electoral advantage over extended periods of time. Mexico to the south was like that. Japan was like that. South Africa was like that. But it really raises questions about the degree to which those kinds of systems are democratic. I would argue at this point in time that both our political parties have been seriously weakened by a variety of factors, and I would be happy to go into, what those are at the forum if you're curious. Chapter 8 addresses the role of interest groups. James Madison observed in Federalist 10 that faction, which is the word the framers used for interest groups, is to democracy as air is to fire. So again, faction is to democracy as air is to fire. Now, what he meant by that was that if you give people freedom, they will associate, and people with resources will band together and attempt to influence government. Madison believed that one proposed cure for the mischief that interest groups can work, which was to use the power of the state to ban them, was a cure worse than the disease and would lead to authoritarianism. Madison's solution was a large federated republic, which would disperse interest groups' influence and prevent them from exerting too much power over government. Forced into balancing competing claims of interest groups, the government would have tremendous incentives to act as an honest broker. And that's really how our system is supposed to work. And we can ask whether our system is increasingly breaking down and whether modern interest groups have broken free of Madison's cage. As usual, you have the two assignments that are due by July, 7th. As always, you need to participate in the forum, and then you have the quiz, and then you also have your second unit exam, which is due that Sunday. It's not going to be open until around the middle of the week. I want you to complete the quiz first before you take that. And again, I'll have instructions at the Dropbox. As always, if you have questions, don't hesitate to call, email, or drop by my office. And again, the forum is a great place to ask questions. So let's have a great week.